Today we're opening a chronicle that feels like it's been carved right into the heartland of Thailand itself. You see, this isn't just a biography, it's a true saga. The saga of Luang Pho Thongsuk of Wat Tonod Luang. And his journey? Well, it's one that plunges into the deepest shadows imaginable, only to emerge into the most brilliant spiritual light. So let's begin this incredible, epic tale. And it all starts with this powerful declaration, a phrase that's still whispered with total reverence by anyone who carries his sacred amulets. Flies don't get to taste the blood. Now, that isn't just some old saying. It's a testament to a kind of protection that's almost unbelievable. So you have to ask yourself, what kind of life, what kind of spiritual mastery could possibly give birth to such an audacious claim?
You know, our story doesn't begin with a saint. It begins with a young man walking a very dark and dangerous path. This first chapter is all about his transformation, from a figure that people feared into a seeker of profound truth.
He was born Suk Deelert, and he was just one of those people blessed with immense natural talent. I mean, he was gifted in the arts. He was so good at traditional Khan theater he could actually teach it, but he was also a master of combat. Incredibly skilled in Muay Thai and the art of Krabi Kerbang. You could just feel this restless, powerful spirit brimming inside him.
But all that restless energy, without a guide, it led him astray. His amazing skills were soon twisted and turned towards a life of crime, and his reputation grew and grew until his name alone struck fear across 3 entire provinces: Phetchaburi, Ratchaburi, and Samut Songkhram. He became a man on the run, not just from the law, but really from himself.
So what happens when a man like that, a man with so much raw power, finally hits the end of the road? What could possibly be the turning point, the one event powerful enough to transform a figure of such infamy? Well, this is where the legend truly begins.
The thing that changed everything was just utter desperation. He was being hunted by the authorities, so he fled deep into the forest. And for 3 full days, he hid there without a single thing to eat. He was starving, he was exhausted, and he was completely and totally hopeless. And in that crushing silence, he was finally forced to confront the absolute emptiness of the life he'd built.
So what was the final straw? It was this absolutely harrowing encounter. Pushed by pure hunger, he finally comes out of the forest to beg for some food. But the second the villagers saw his face, the face of this feared outlaw, they didn't just scream and run, no, they fainted. Just collapsed from sheer terror. Can you imagine? Seeing your own reflection in that kind of fear? That was it. That was the moment it all changed. He renounced everything, right then and there, and sought refuge in the saffron robe. Becoming a monk wasn't the end of his journey, though. It was really the beginning of a new one, an even tougher one. He embarked on this long, ascetic pilgrimage, a path filled with trials that would forge his spirit and, ultimately, reveal his incredible latent power.
So at 32 years old, in the year 2452, he was officially ordained. For years, he just dedicated himself to study, learning from the greatest spiritual masters of the time, soaking up all the sacred sciences. And then, armed with all this new knowledge, he set out on foot, walking the ascetic path across the entire country, really testing his mind and spirit against the wild. And it wasn't long before the protective power that surrounded him was revealed. While he was meditating deep in the jungle, some local tribesmen mistook his solitary tent for a threat, and they just opened fire on him with arrows and crossbows. And then a miracle happened. Every single projectile just fell harmlessly to the ground. They couldn't even touch the simple net of his meditation tent.
But his power wasn't just about deflecting danger. It was rooted in this deep compassion. On another occasion, while meditating in a different forest, a massive tiger suddenly emerged from the wilderness. But instead of attacking, this great beast just calmly circled his meditation spot for a while before disappearing back into the jungle. It was as if it was pacified by the sheer aura of peace that was radiating from him.
After all those years of wandering and forging his spirit in the wild, his journey eventually led him back home. But his greatest challenge was still waiting for him: the monumental task of transforming a forgotten, ruined temple into the beating heart of a community.
When he got to Wat Tonod Luang, he found it was in a state of just utter disrepair. I mean, the previous abbot had passed away, and the temple was literally crumbling. But the local villagers, they saw something in him. They saw a leader with this immense spiritual presence, and their collective faith was really a call to action. In the year 2457, they begged him to stay and become their abbot.
And he did so much more than just accept. He poured his entire life into that community. He rebuilt the temple from its foundations up. He became their local doctor, using his vast knowledge of herbal medicine to heal the sick, and he even cured people suffering from severe mental illness. It's said that through the power of his meditation alone, he could cast out spirits from afar. He was an engineer too, building schools and roads and bridges. Wat Tonod Luang became a true sanctuary for everyone.
So now, let's get to the source of his legendary fame. We're talking about the unique and incredibly powerful sacred arts that really established him as one of the great masters of his era. This was knowledge that was uniquely his own. His signature, his secret weapon, if you will, was something called Krang Putta. Now, this wasn't just any old lacquer. It was harvested specifically from the jujube tree. He would then mix this sacred resin with powerful medicinal herbs and his most secret ingredient, the legendary half-moon powder, a substance of immense spiritual potency, said to be more powerful than anything else.
This sacred lacquer was then used to coat his famous Khru amulets, and the material he put inside determined its specific power. So for people who were seeking fortune and authority, he would use the lid of a brass alms bowl. For invulnerability, he'd use copper. To ward off dark magic, he turned to lead. And incredibly, even a simple palm leaf could be blessed to inspire loving kindness or even to ensure a safe childbirth.
But maybe his most jaw-dropping display of power was the miracle they call Napat Talat. Okay, get this. He's preparing herbs for medicine, and he has to write this sacred prayer on like hundreds of tiny leaves. Tedious, right? So getting a bit impatient, he just stacks up 20 leaves, writes the sacred symbol, the yantra, on the single top leaf, and through nothing but sheer force of will, that same symbol just appears, miraculously, on every single leaf all the way down the stack. I mean, talk about a true demonstration of mind over matter. It's just incredible.
You know, a man of such immense power and compassion, he naturally leaves a legacy that just can't be contained by a single lifetime. His influence went far beyond his physical presence, creating this immoral faith that still burns so brightly to this day.
The sheer scale of his influence was just staggering. His disciples weren't just local villagers. We're talking about the most powerful men in the entire nation. Prime ministers like Field Marshal Plak Phiban Sungkrum, generals, police chiefs, they all came to Wat Tonod Luang to seek his wisdom, his blessings, and his protection.
When he passed away in the year 2500, at 80 years old, it wasn't an end. It was more like a transformation. If you go to Wat Tonod Luang today, his spirit, his teachings, and the incredible faith he inspired are still vibrant and alive, passed down through generations of disciples and cherished by countless followers.
And this really is the profound transformation at the very heart of this chronicle. From a villain so feared that his mere presence made people faint, to a revered master to whom the nation's leaders bowed their heads, the life of Luang Pho Thongsuk is an immortal testament that any path, no matter how lost it seems, can lead from the deepest, darkest places into an eternal, unwavering light.